A new VA loan where there's no closing costs that you have to pay? Happy VA Wednesday. Today we're going to dig into a new product that I saw launched on Monday. It was launched by another VA lender. I don't usually talk about programs that other lenders are doing. However, in this case, I feel like the advertisements for it are not representing the reality. And I wanted to do a video because the last thing I want is for any veteran to get in over their head. And that is my concern. So if you guys are new to the channel, every Wednesday I do a VA video. I have a free course, No Stress VA. Share it with anyone you want, realtors, friends, family. It teaches you everything you need to know about VA loans. And my team's been one of the top VA purchase teams in America for the last 2 years. So this is what I do every day. I talk to veterans across the country. And when I saw this program, I started digging into it and I was like, I got to do a video on this because I really don't want anyone getting in over their head. So what's the claim? The claim is this. They actually have a graphic on their website where it says $300,000 loan, traditional VA closing costs $10,500. With us, $0. And you're like, wow, cool, Jen. There's a lender that wants to help veterans because all of the verbiage is about how they want to help more veterans get into homes. So they created this program so veterans can get in with $0. You know, zero down payment, which always makes me laugh because VA is zero down payment. Like, anyways, they're acting like that's a big part of the program, and then zero closing costs. And you're like, okay, so are they just paying the closing costs for me? Because based on the advertising, I believe that unless you are a mortgage lender digging in, you would assume that if you work with this company, you are getting a financial benefit. They are covering your closing costs. No. So what they're actually doing is they are doing a personal loan for you. So you've got your VA loan and there's a personal loan. Now, if you pay it back within a year, there's no interest. But what the interest rate will be if you don't pay it back in a year, I couldn't find anywhere on the website. I didn't see in the press release. And for me, look, because I'm licensed in 48 states, I'm licensed everywhere but Utah and Rhode Island. The only reason I am not licensed in those, Rhode Island's crazy expensive and we just don't get a lot of calls from Rhode Island. And then Utah had additional education requirements where I would have to redo everything I've already done. Didn't want to deal with it, okay? That is why I'm not in those 2 states. So I do a ton of continuing education every year. And part of that is that whenever you're telling a consumer that they're going to get some level of benefit, if there is a loan, you've got to give ballparks for where those rates are going to be, right? You can't just say, oh, it's a personal loan payable back within 5 years. Okay, what are the rate ranges? Because if the rates are, 5 to 10%, that's very different than if they're 20 to 30%. If it was clearly disclosed, we are giving you a personal loan and the interest rate will be between 20 and 30%, would you click to apply? No, of course not. Of course not. But we don't know. There's nothing on that site that I could find that would give me the ballpark for what the rates were going to be. Now, Sandy on my team was actually going to dig into it. She started entering her information, and in order to submit, you had to agree to their terms. She clicked on the terms. Always look at the terms when you guys are looking at any website, okay? Like number 2 on the terms was waiving your right to a class action lawsuit. What? You're filling out a loan application. Like if you're filling out a loan application and the lender's trying to get you to waive your rights to a class action lawsuit, like, guys, do not pass go. That is not normal in the industry. And I know some people are like, but Jen, I don't have money for closing costs. I don't have any chance. I got to take a risk. I don't know what the interest rate's going to be, but I have to pray it's low. And I have to agree to this no class action. I have no options, Jen. Yes, you do, guys. Yes, you do. And that's the other thing that stresses me out about this program is because when I'm talking to a veteran, if you guys don't have money for closing costs, even if you do, most people don't want to pay closing costs. I just bought a house. I'm not paying closing costs. Did I need a closing cost credit from the seller? No. But did I negotiate for it? Yes, and you can too. That's the thing right now across the country, because keep in mind, we are doing loans across America. I am seeing that veterans are successful negotiating for their seller to pay their closing costs 98% of the time right now. That is the market we're in. So if you can get the seller to agree to pay your closing costs, why would you be taking out a personal loan that's going to have a monthly payment as well? And that was the other thing, is I felt like, you know, if you're advertising a program like this, if your website has information, there should be examples of what the math would look like. If you're going to be transparent, you got to show some math. Give me an example. You know, show me. Why aren't you showing me? And there's monthly payments. And it's like, look, 15K, 10%, you know, you're going to be low to mid 300s, 20%, you're going to be high 300s, low 4s. That's like 15K-ish for closing. Like, that's a lot to add to your monthly debt burden. So my fear is veterans are going to see this advertisement. They're going to not pay attention to anything and just apply. I don't know what the lenders are telling people about these personal loans. The fact that if you pay it back within a year, there's no interest. I wonder, do you find out the interest after a year? Like, how does that work? Okay. So look, if you guys are actually applying for this program right now, and I can't name the company because there's this weird rule where if I'm a lender and I name another company, it could be, I can actually get a violation, even if everything I say is perfect. And the reason is they could consider that I'm using their name in my advertising, even though in this case, this is heavily educational, right? But you guys will know, right? This is going to be, I saw the first release on it on Monday. This is going to be pumping through the VA community where people are saying, oh no, if you use this program, they cover your closing costs. No, they don't. They're putting you into a personal loan. You're waiving your rights to a class action lawsuit to apply for this program. There are so many red flags. If you're going through it though, I want to know about what happened with your experience. So look, overall, heads up. Whenever you see something where somebody makes it look like if you work with them, they're giving you a benefit, you need to see what that benefit is. In this case, it's a loan. They're giving you a loan, guys, and we don't even know the interest rate. It's another loan. It's a loan on top of a loan. And I really strongly believe that in the market we are in, as I film this, November 2025, lots of arm movement. It's my exercise, right? You can get the seller to pay your closing costs in 98% of the country. So don't take out a personal loan. Don't saddle yourself with no debt. Let's go negotiate. Only do this if you're desperate, but you better make sure you know those interest rates, how they work, and I want to make sure that they're actually really disclosing everything to you. So anyways, questions, comments, you guys can call my team 7 days a week. I've got Sandy, Alyssa, Christina, they're all licensed loan officers, Linda, Amber. We answer questions. We're happy to answer questions. We're happy to help you get pre-approved. We're happy to help you plan for a house. We're happy to get you to the finish line with full transparency. So I hope this video was helpful. I really wanted to bring this to your attention the minute I saw it because I was like, wow, this is crazy. And if you guys are trying to figure out if you're working with that company, just put in their name in Google and do CFPB violations 2024, their name, deceptive advertising violations 2014, 2015. And guess what? They're not licensed in New York, so maybe see why. Thanks for watching, guys.